What Jill said tells a lot. She says this: to those who never wavered, to those who refused to doubt, to those who always believed, my heart is full of gratitude. You know what he's saying? To Fetterman and Clyburn, who stood by me along with Christopher Coons, you guys are the ones who stood there. For everyone else, from Nancy Pelosi to Barack Obama, who stabbed me in the back and pushed me out the door, for the good of the party, not the country, I'm not going to forgive you, I'm not going to forget. So then he ran off and did his subtle shots at President Trump, as if we're going to elect the next dictator, the next Mussolini, if he's in fact elected. So the whole thing was a bit of a campaign speech because he ran through everything he says he accomplished, what he's about to accomplish, all of which are impossible, and then what it's going to mean if he doesn't step aside, and that the world ends, the country ends, and that's Donald Trump getting elected.
But to Lawrence's point, Lawrence, he did say last night, quote, I promise to always level with you and tell you the truth.
And he proceeded to lie.
And you said yesterday, I guarantee he's going to say, I'm going to pass the torch.
Right.
And we all said he's going to say it's time for fresh voices, for younger voices, because that's the message they're going with now. Donald Trump, he put on his social media platform, he said, barely understandable, it was so bad, and goes on to say, if Kamala lies about Biden's mental status, she will lie about everything else too, never to be trusted.
Yeah, clearly he dropped out because the Democratic Party didn't want him anymore because he was going to drag them all down, and that's why he got knifed.
He couldn't win.
No, he couldn't, and the instant they went to him at 90 seconds after 8 o'clock last night, his face seemed frozen, he did not look healthy.
But Steve, I have a question for you.
I was reading some doctors analyzed he had a very low blink rate of his eyes and stuff like that. But Lawrence, to your point, you know, we all thought he would explain why he gave it up. I lost a step or something like that. If he said that, then he would have to leave right then.
Yeah. But would he, if he did not do that debate, they would have known his condition and still would have stuck with him if he didn't do that debate. So they don't deserve praise for stepping in and saving the party, saving the country. And Joe Biden doesn't deserve praise for stepping out. He had no choice, and after he got exposed, the party had no choice. Well, so there's nothing laudable about what happened.
Yeah, it's clear that they're going to keep the lie up, and
they've got to.
I think they underestimate how furious even Democrats, people that like Joe Biden, are about being lied to. I mean, I told the story about the driver the other day who's a solid Democrat that says he saw something, but he didn't know it was that bad. Someone that's been following politics for a long time, Britt Hume, had a reaction to this. He says he's never seen anything like this. Watch.
Hear the president tell it. He was fine with running for re-election, thought he could win the race and serve for 4 more years until sometime between Saturday night and Sunday morning when it dawned on him, apparently, that it was time for a new generation of leaders. There was enough mention of democracy and the sacredness of it to suggest that there was more than a little political motivation in his speech, since democracy and the salvation of it has been such a theme of his and Kamala Harris's election program. But it was quite a conversion overnight, it seems, if you believe it. I'm not sure I do. I've been doing this for well more than half a century. In terms of news, this is the most tumultuous period I can think of. And, you know, I think when we all look back on this in the fullness of time, and perhaps with a better explanation of exactly the decision-making process the president went through, it will be seen as inevitable once that debate happened that he would have to step aside. The debate happened and everything else flowed from it except for one thing, and that was the attempted murder of Donald Trump.
After the debate, the Democrats were panicking, and Republicans were saying, this is amazing, Donald Trump's going to win. And then the Democrats chose to push him out. Then they select Kamala Harris, and now they're saying, thank goodness for that debate. Because now we have a candidate that could,
while still saying that he's going to protect democracy. That's my favorite part. You guys have had an entire process where no votes were cast for the nominee.
No primary for Kamala Harris.
No primary at all, and no votes when she ran the first time. She didn't even make it to the first primary. And you guys still want to say protect democracy? There's nothing democratic about this process.
I think he's mispronouncing it. It's not protecting democracy. He's saying protecting Democrats, ultimately. So what he did at the end was he wound up giving a non-campaign campaign speech, talking about what he's going to do over the next 6 months. Last night we saw the very beginning of the very long Joe Biden goodbye.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.